Hey everyone, welcome to lesson 3.1, graphing vertex form. So this is going to be very similar to doing transformations like we did that little mini unit we did. So you won't see a whole lot of new things here, but I am going to kind of start to explain to you what a quadratic is. And you should have a pretty good idea because you should have talked about them in Algebra 1, but I know that some of us need a reminder every now and then. So the word quadratic, quad means two. A lot of people think it means four. The easiest way I can think of to remind you of this is that you have two quads on your legs. You don't have four legs. There are no quads on your arms either. So you have two quads. Quart means four, and they're very similar, but quad means two. And that two is the degree. Degree means what level of exponents we have. So if our level of exponents is 2, that means we have x squared. Okay? And then we're going to graph these. Each graph is going to look either like this or like this. So they're going to be U's. We call those parabolas. Then, this is what the equations are going to look like today. Notice how there's parentheses with the squared on the outside? This is called vertex form. And you can use transformations because the vertex is going to be at these 2 points. It always starts at 0, 0, and then h, the number inside, moves it left if it's a plus, right if it's a minus, and the number outside moves it up if it's a plus, down if it's a minus. Okay, so these are sort of inside, and these are outside. And then the letter out front, this A, that stretches or shrinks the graph. And what you're going to do is multiply A times the up part of the patterns over here. So I'm going to call that the ups. Or you can do A times the y values. One hint I have for you is that if you're going to multiply by the y values, do that before you do these two things. Okay? This changes the shape of the graph. These two just move the vertex. Okay, let's go ahead and graph the regular just x squared. There's no pluses, there's no minuses, there's no number out front yet. So what we're going to do is start off by just squaring numbers. So if I start out at 0, 0 squared is 0. If I go over to 1, 1 squared is 1. And if I go over to 2, 2 squared is 4. So I'm just plugging numbers into the equation, which is x squared. And then if I go over to 3, 3 squared is 9, which technically I can put off the graph a little bit right here, but this last one is probably not going to fit on your graphs. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Negative 1 squared is negative 1 times negative 1. Those two negatives cancel out and make it positive 1 still. Then I'm going to go over 2 up 4, and there we have it. I can also go to negative 3 up 9 again. Again, that doesn't really fit on our graph, but I can still put it there for my shape if I want. And there you go. That is a parabola, or the main parabola that you start with. The pattern is we're going to start from the vertex in the middle. And we go up 1, left 1, and right 1. Then we're going to go up 4 over 2. Basically, this pattern is that however much you're going left or right, you square this number to get this one. So if you're not sure how many to go up, go to the next x value. So if we went over 1, that's up 1 because 1 squared is 1. Then we go over 2, then we're going to go over 3. 3 squared is 9, so we'd be going up 9 over 3. But again, this last one isn't going to fit on your graph all the time. There's only a few instances in which we will use it. Okay, moving on. So I'm just going to do a couple of these examples with you guys. This one typically confuses people because there's no parentheses. That means it's not going left or right, and we can assume that this is sort of like the number outside, which is going to move us down 5. Not left or right at all, just down 5. So here is my new vertex. And then there's this 2 out front. So what we're going to do is multiply our ups times 2. And I'm going to write the new pattern over here on the right. So instead of up 1, left and right 1, this is going to multiply by 2. So that'll be up 2. And I'm just going to call it over 1 because it's going left and right. And then I need to multiply this by 2, just the up parts. Right, and that's all I'm going to have space for. I'm just going to focus on the first 2 parts of the pattern. So up 2 over 1 in both directions. And then up 8 over 2 to the right and over 2 to the left. And then to draw your U, some people can go like this and start on the left, go all the way down and up. Some people prefer starting in the middle and doing this half of the U and then this half of the U. And there you have it. The next one has left and right and up and down. So there's a plus 2 on the inside, and if the inside one is a plus, it goes to the left. So I'm going left 2. If there's a plus on the outside, plus, it's going up. So left 2, up 6. Start in the middle at 0, 0. Left 2, up 6. There's our new vertex. And then what we're going to do is multiply the ups times -3. So that's going to be 1 times -3 is -3. 4 times -3 is -12. And then I'm going to go put these on the graph. So up -3, that means down 3 over 1. So if your ups go negative, that means you're actually going down, not up. And then down 12 over 1, or sorry, over 2. Don't forget to change that to over 2, like I just did. So I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 over 2 over 2. If it makes it easier for you, you can draw a dashed line down the middle to help you remember where the center is. This is called the axis of symmetry, and we're going to talk about it a lot tomorrow or on the next lesson. And then I'm going to draw my U. So it really is just following the pattern. And then the third one is going to be a 1/2 out front. Since this is a minus on the inside, that's going to go to the right. A minus on the outside goes down. So right 3, down 2. There's your point. And then I'm just going to go ahead and multiply without saying it. I'm going to up 1/2 over 1. I'm going to go up. Half of 4 is 2 over 2. Okay. And up 1/2 over 1. And look how I'm just doing my best to guess where about 1/2 is. And then I'm going to go up 2 over 2. Up 2 over 2. So this is a really wide parabola. It gets wider if it's a fraction, taller, and much narrower if it is a whole number, which means not a fraction, by the way. Okay, moving on down to the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you that you can draw a parabola through these points. This one would flip to the other side. So it's supposed to look something like this. Okay. The reason why I didn't do that is because I need you to make sure you're using the 2 points that are easier to use, so I'm only giving you those 2 points. And basically, the first thing you're going to do is set up your equation. Like this. Because that's how all of these vertex forms start. You got to have the parentheses with x on the inside and the squared afterward. Then you're going to look at the vertex and decide how has it been moved. It's supposed to be here, so we've gone to the right 5 and up 1. Right 5 is going to be a minus 5 inside. Up 1 is going to be a plus 1 on the outside. And those two parts should be fairly easy to set up. The third piece is a little bit trickier because you have to decide what the pattern is. So if I count from here to here, it is going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's going over 1. It is supposed to go up 1, over 1. But now it's going down 5 over 1. So the over 1 isn't going to change. We just have to figure out what do we multiply this up by to get to negative 5? Well, it's just negative 5. That one's a little simpler and more straightforward. The next one's going to be a fraction, and it requires a little bit more thinking. So example 5, if you want to draw the rest of the graph because it helps you, you can. This point would flip, it's 2 away, so it's going to go 2 on the other side. So parabolas are symmetrical, always, if that helps you to see it. So this one has been moved to the right 1 and down 4. So I'm going to start by doing my setup. And then I need to move it right 1 and down 4. So the right 1 goes on the inside minus, the down 4 goes on the outside minus. Then my pattern takes me from here to here. So this time I'm going up 1 over 2. If I'm going over 2, my pattern should go up 4 over 2. So we have to ask ourselves, what has this 4 been multiplied by to become 1? And I'm picking the over 2 part because this one's going over 2. That's how I know whether or not I'm using this piece or this piece. So 4 to 1, I'm multiplying by 1/4. It's the same thing as dividing by 4. Multiplying by 1/4 is the same thing. Okay, and then the very last one is going to be a little weird. The number out front is just going to be a little more challenging. So here's my setup. The vertex has been moved to the left 4, up 3. So left 4, up 3. Then it's going down and over. So no matter what, this number out front is going to have to be a negative. And it's going down 9 and over 2. It's supposed to go, like the last one, up 4 over 2. So we need to figure out 4 times what equals negative 9. Okay, and this is how you can kind of set it up. Just like over here, I could have done 4 times what equals 1. And then that answer would have been 1/4. So over here, it's not going to be a whole number, otherwise 4 would go into this number. It's going to be a fraction. And the easiest way to start is I want to get rid of the 4, so I'm going to put a 4 on the bottom. So those would cancel out. Then I want to be left with the negative 9, so I'm going to put the negative 9 on top. So my fraction would be negative 9 fourths.